Hello, Didier.
Hi, Ignacio.
How are you?
Great yourself.
Good, good, good. So, you remember you and I were at the World Ocean Summit back in March, speaking about plastics and human rights?
Yeah.
So, today is World Oceans Day. So, we wanted to take a moment and talk about the important things that the CGF, as a retail manufacturer organization, can do to preserve our oceans. Of course, there are many organizations working on this space with much more direct work on the oceans, and so much can be said about this topic. But we only have 3 minutes, so let's get to it. So, Didier, you lead from the everything related social sustainability. What can you share with the audience about social sustainability and the oceans?
Well, it's true that we don't directly work on oceans, but lately we have been having some work streams that targeted at sea operations, notably because seafood is one of the largest traded commodity in the world. So that represents a lot of food, but certainly a lot of workforce. And there must be some issues at stake when you work on a boat. And this is why we, with the Sustainable Supply Chain Initiative, decided to look at standards that usually cover, well, what's environmental compliance, but on social compliance, it's always a bit trickier. So that's why we developed a benchmark to assess how sustainability standards covering at-sea operations are effectively meeting social requirements that would be deemed to be okay for our industry. In parallel to that, I think you know about COVID, and COVID had impact on seafarers, notably because they were stuck at sea, couldn't go back on shore because of COVID protocols being set up by governments to respond to the urgency of finding solutions to deal with the situation. Reality being that then more than 400,000 people were effectively in conditions of modern slavery because they just couldn't get back home, nor even leave the ship. And so we, thanks to the leadership of the CEOs of the board of the Consumer Goods Forum, decided to start raising awareness about that and sent a letter addressed to the UN Secretary General, highlighting that the situation was obviously unacceptable since we overly rely on everyone working on those big shipping boats to get our goods delivered to our customers, but also that this was creating new forms of slavery, and therefore we needed to recognize ocean workers and seafarers as key workers and make sure that they would be granted with the high level of social protection required despite the COVID situation. But I guess loads of social issues happening there. What I seem to remember is that apparently soon enough there will be more plastic in the sea than there are effectively fish. So what are you doing on that since you have the
You are
environment sustainability at the CGF?
You are very right. You hit the nail on the head. So obviously the CGF must have a position on plastics, and we do, given a number of things. The scale of the issue is actually global. We have a direct and very visible association with it. There's a risk of campaigns that are already happening and media exposure. There's a desire by many governments to raise funding for new waste handling facilities. There's a risk of cost for us at the industry. There's a growing focus on social and economic ply for waste pickers. And what is clear is the inability of any of our members to solve this issue alone. Needless to say, it generates a number of opportunities that arise from the recovery of raw materials. So we basically came up with a very simple recipe for this issue, which is around three things: less plastic, better plastic, and a much better system to collect, sort, and recycle. So on less plastic, let's avoid any unnecessary plastic packaging that we can. And for that, we are producing a number of guidelines. Better plastic, more recyclable, and using more recycled content. And of course, a better system. We need to contribute effectively to a much better collection system in those areas where we operate. And as I mentioned, there's an absolute inability from any of our members to solve this alone. So no one can solve this issue. And we need that much needed collaboration among our members.
That's definitely what we do at CGF, try to convene retailers and manufacturers with stakeholders from all over the world to cover sustainability issues that we all know are interconnected. So if you're interested in learning more about how industry collaboration can help address some of these issues and effectively help protect our oceans at our level, please feel free to reach out. I will leave the coordinates at the end of this video. In the meantime, take care.
Super. Thank you.